How many times have you tried to take a selfie only to delete it immediately? Or how many times has someone tried to take a candid photo of you, which you then have to ensure that they never show another living soul? You see, my father-in-law loves to take loads of pictures of family events. And it's sweet, he wants to preserve those precious family memories. The only problem is, he has the uncanny ability of taking the worst candid pictures that you have ever seen. Every single picture, someone's mid-chew, or their eyes are closed, or it's the most unflattering angle ever. And now maybe you're that one weirdo in the room who likes every picture of yourself, and that's grand. But I'm sure the rest of us can relate to only ever using a carefully curated stash of pre-approved pictures of ourselves, because we tend to not like how we look naturally. And I know this is true because there are billion-euro industries built around the premise that people want to change themselves, be it beauty, fashion, or fitness. See, we end up comparing ourselves to perfectly posed and photoshopped images of celebrities and influencers, and then we despair because we can't live up to that standard. Now, if you've ever tried to read the Bible, you've probably started from the beginning, and that makes sense. And once you get past the contents and the copyright page, you come to the first book of the Bible, and it's called Genesis, and it's the book of beginnings. And in it, we read about how God made the world and filled it up with everything. And when God was finished making the world, we read these words. Then God said, "Let us make human beings in our image, to be like us." So, God created human beings in their own image. In the image of God, they created them. Male and female, they created them. Then God looked over all they had made and saw that it was very good. And evening passed and morning came, marking the sixth day. Now, there tends to be some misunderstanding about what this passage is trying to do. You see, the authors of Genesis were not trying to write a science textbook, and they weren't trying to define marriage. They weren't even making a point about gender or sexuality. What the original authors were trying to do is portray the place of human beings in God's creation. You see, it's not important to know how God made the world, be it 6 literal days or a slow process over millions of years. What we see in the book of Genesis is God creating the world but being dissatisfied with it. Think of the most beautiful sunset you've ever seen. Think of the cutest baby elephant or your cherished pet or the most breathtaking view. Genesis is telling us that all that was part of God's design. And we see that when God put all this together, still something was missing. Now we see in the passage that every time God creates something, he declares that it's good. But with the addition of humans, God says that creation was now very good. And that's another way of saying that with the addition of humans, creation was perfect. Now, when God made the day and the night, the authors of the passage put it into a binary, day and night. But we know that between day and night, there is variation. There's dusk, dawn, pinks, purples, blues, black. When God made water, he also made the variations of it, liquid, gas, solid. The passage shows us that God is not a God of binaries, but of the variations, the in-betweens, and the same is true of humans. Though the passage says he made them male and female, we know that there is variation between them. No two humans are the same, physically or in terms of personality. And this should be an amazing encouragement to anyone reading this passage. As trans people, bi people, gay, lesbian, ace, non-binary, or cishet, we reflect the multifaceted nature of God themselves. And when God looked at the beautiful, diverse humans that they had made, they didn't just say that we were sufficient or okay. They said that we were very good, perfect. So when we look at that selfie or that candid picture, we should remind ourselves that we have been made in the image of God. We weren't made to fit a mold cast by the beauty industry. We were made to reflect the divine.